Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This week, I'm not going to make this video, I can't say I'm not going to make this video super long because I just tried to film this video just now and it got cut off like 25 minutes in because it was just way too long. So this week, last week, like I said, I was doing a video this week that I've never done on this channel. It's very new, and that is a book review. Today, I'm going to be reviewing Little Mercies by Heather GUDENKAUF. Now, I don't say this about a lot of books, but this is the best book I've ever read in my life. And this book should definitely be turned into a movie. I will say this, though. There are going to be some trigger warnings. There is a lot of talk about child abuse in this book. So if you are triggered by that, just click this video off. But yeah, I'm obsessed with this book. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I do want to thank my aunt, though, because she's the one that gave me this book. And I love it. So thank you, Aunt Carolyn. Well, I call her Aunt Connie, so thank you, Aunt Connie. But anyways, it's about, this book kind of has like two point of views. It has a point of view of Adam and Ellen, a married couple with 3 kids, Lucas, Leah, and Avery. And then the second point of view, and the chapters kind of alternate. So one chapter is about Ellen and Adam and their kids. And then the next chapter is about a little girl, I think she's about 6 or 7 years old, named Jenny. And so what happens, at the beginning of the book, it starts off with Ellen is on the way to work, and Adam puts their youngest kid, who's about just a couple months old. Her name is Avery. So Adam puts Avery in Ellen's car. And it was a hot summer morning, and so Ellen can drop her off at daycare while she goes to work, because Ellen is also a social worker, child and youth worker kind of thing. And so on the way to work, Ellen stops by a house that she does work at, or used to anyway, and because there was a lot of commotion, arguing in that house, or outside of it, or something like that. So she stops by to see what's going on, and while she's at that house, she hears a lot of commotion by her car. And she's been outside of her car now for about 45 minutes or so, and she turns around to see someone breaking into her car, or so she thought. And it turns out that she left her daughter, her little, I'd say 4-month-old daughter, in the car on a hot summer day, and she wasn't really conscious. Or if she was conscious, it was like in and out of consciousness. So she ends up going to the hospital, and it turns out that her mother forgot about her in the car, which to me, how can you forget about your own daughter or son or whatever it is, your own child in a hot car on a hot summer day? How can you forget that? How can you forget about your child, period, right? But anyway, stuff happens, and it turns out that Ellen, because of that, Ellen has to stay about 7 feet away from her daughter until they clear things up, until stuff gets cleared up. Anyway, so, and on Jenny's point of view, it starts off with Jenny is with her father because her father and her mother are divorced, and her mother is living with this asshole named Jimmy. And Jimmy is very abusive. Like 6 years ago, Jenny lived with Deidre, who is her mother, and Jimmy was so abusive the whole entire time she was there. She was abusive, or he was abusive to Jenny and Deidre. But she went to live with her father after, and while her and her father was on a trip to someplace, and her father gets into a fight with a police officer, and he gets taken to jail. And so Jenny runs away because she's all by herself. She doesn't really want to go back to Jimmy and Deidre because Jimmy, like I said, is very abusive to her and Deidre. So she takes her little red bag and she goes to a cafe restaurant place nearby. But little does she know, the woman that works there is actually Ellen's mother. So her name is Maudine. So Maudine realizes that Jenny looks lost, so Maudine takes her to stay at her house with her grandkids, Lucas and Leah. Leah is pretty jealous of Jenny now. She doesn't want Jenny there. She is, like I said, super jealous. And so stuff happens throughout the rest of this book, towards, like, up until, like, towards the end of it, like, till this part, I would say. And So every chapter after that, up until, like I said, page, I would say around 260. The only things that really happen between then is Jenny is trying to find out where her mother lives because she wants to kind of reunite with her mother. Not Jimmy so much, but her mother for sure. And the other side that happens in the story is just updates on how Avery's doing. She doesn't die, which is good, but yeah, just updates on how she is in the hospital. Anyway, so I'm going to go to page 268 now. Also, I should say that I should have said this at the beginning of the video. Spoilers. So, page 268 it starts. Let me see. And at one point I was also like team like against completely against Deidre as well at one point. But I will get into that more in a second. So, at one point Jenny does reunite with her mother, and they end up wanting to run away. So they patch things up kind of thing, and they make a plan to run away and go to the bus station to buy 2 tickets to Georgia. So, but little do they know, Jimmy actually has a tracking thing on his phone, I think it is. So he tracked down where, because he got home from work because he's working when Jenny and Deidre leave. So when he gets home from work, he finds out that Jenny and Deidre isn't there. So he tracks them down. That just proves that he's kind of abusive. Like, come on, why do you need to track them down? Like, seriously. If you get home from work and someone's gone from your house, don't track them down right away. That just shows creepy behavior, right? Just wait a couple hours, couple days. Actually, don't wait a couple days. Wait like a day or whatever, or just a couple hours. I don't even know. And then if those 2 people or whoever it is that's gone doesn't show up, start looking for them. Start trying to track them down. That kind of thing. But don't get home from work and see that someone's gone and track them down right away, because that just shows creepy-ass behavior, right? Anyway, so he tracks them down. He goes to the bus station where they're at. And when they turn around after grabbing their bus tickets to go on the bus, Jimmy's there and goes, where do you 2 think you're going? And then they end up going into Jimmy's car or truck or whatever, and Jimmy and Deidre in the front, and Jimmy demands Deidre to drive. And then poor little Jenny's in the back seat. So I'm going to read a couple of parts of this chapter that I'm talking about right now. So I'm not going to read the entire chapter. I'm just reading some parts of stuff that stood out to me and stuff that kind of helps me get my point across, if that makes sense. So, like I said, Jimmy forces Deidre to drive, and Jimmy takes Jenny's backpack and starts going through it, because there are some things Jenny has in there, like pictures of her and her father, and that she really doesn't want Jimmy to see. So let me see. Okay, so there's another little girl that I think it's something crazy or twisted or whatever the heck it was. Deidre's husband, Mr. Olmsted, they had another kid named Madeline, and Deidre's husband at the time, I don't know if it was Jenny's current father, or not current father, but biological father, or if Deidre was married before she was married with Jenny's biological father, or whatever it was. But Deidre has had another kid named Madeline, and Madeline died because she got thrown out the window by her biological father, and her biological father claimed it was Madeline who wanted to practice flying, but it wasn't it. She got thrown off of the top window on a however many story floor or house, and she died. So her father really killed her and just blamed it on, oh, Madeline wanted to practice flying. Like, no, grow up, seriously, get a life. Anyway, so Jenny. Oh wait, hold on. That was actually Jimmy's daughter, was it? Because it says, Jimmy said tightly, shaking his head, "You two are up to something. Ever since Madeline, you've been different." I'm pretty sure it is. Madeline was Jimmy's daughter, and Deidre's daughter too. Anyway, moving on. And then Jenny wondered, Madeline? Who was Madeline? And so stuff happened, stuff was said, and I'm going to find out what's going on, he said, or Jimmy spat. I've had enough of this bullshit, Deidre. I want to know what the heck is going on, he said, H double sticks, but I'm not going to say that. So stuff happened, and this is where I started hating Deidre. I wanted nothing to do with her. I just hated her. So okay, so stuff happened, stuff was said, and then Deidre started turning on her daughter, Jenny. So she said, I didn't want her here anyway, Deidre said coldly. I never wanted her. Jenny felt like she had been punched. We left her behind 6 years ago, Jimmy. You think I want the headache of having her back? I don't know how she found me. Why do you think I was so quick in getting her back to the bus station? She turned to Jenny, the car swerving slightly with the movement. Why did you come here, Jenny? What made you think I would want to see you? Now look what you've done. And then Deidre sped up, passing a gas station, the last building before hitting the countryside. And so Deidre stopped the car, and she shouted at Jimmy, saying, get out of my car. And at this point, Ellen and her mom, Maudine, is looking for Jenny, because they noticed Jenny's missing. She left to go with her mom, and she didn't even let anyone know. And so at this point, they're trying to find Jenny. And so they kick Jenny out of the car, and then she sees Maudine's car pull up. And it turns out that Deidre actually knew Ellen. I think Ellen worked for Deidre before. And so Ellen comes up to Deidre and said, Deidre, it's Ellen Moore. Do you remember me? And that's that chapter. So stuff happened there, and then a couple of chapters after, it turns out Ellen is allowed to be with her daughter again, which is great. And then when I think they're at like a courthouse kind of thing, at the jail or something like that. I don't even know. But Ellen's there trying to clear everything up, and she sees Deidre walk in. I was going to say Maudie, but that's not her. Deidre walk in, covered in blood. Turns out that Deidre actually only treated Jenny like that so she can protect her from Jimmy, because she felt Jimmy was getting more and more violent as the day went on, or by the minute. So she only shouted at Deidre, or not Deidre, Jenny, telling her to get out of a car. She didn't want her, only to protect her from Jimmy. And so that's what happened. And it turns out that because of how rude Jimmy was, Deidre actually killed Jimmy, and that's why she showed up at, I think it was the courthouse, wearing, like, covered in all blood, saying, I'm confessing to killing my boyfriend. So yeah, that's what happened. And then at the end of it, everything's good. Obviously Jimmy's dead, because like I said, Deidre killed him, and Jenny is reunited, I guess, with her dad or her mom, somebody. And then Lucas, Leanne, and Avery and their parents, Ellen and Adam, are reunited. Ellen's allowed around her daughter Avery again. And yeah, that's pretty much what the book is. It's incredible. If you guys, even if you are not a big reader and child abuse doesn't really trigger you, and even if you're not a big reader, read this, because this is freaking incredible. Again, like I said, I don't say this about a lot of books, but this book is very heartwarming. It tugs at your heartstrings quite a bit. I didn't cry during this book, really, but there are times where I'm like, "Aw," right? But, like, I feel like books and movies, they don't really make me cry, except Marley and Me. Last time I watched Marley and Me, I was, like, done, right? But anyway, this book is incredible. It definitely does tug at your heartstrings, but if you are not triggered by child abuse stuff, if you haven't been through it, read this. Even if you're not a big reader, read this. It's insane. Incredible. Love it. And again, like I said, I don't normally say this about a lot of books, but like I said, it was my favorite book I've ever read, and this book should be turned into a movie, because that would just be insane, and I would definitely watch it a lot. And I'm definitely going to go back and read this again, because it's just that amazing. So yeah, yeah, so that is my book review. If you guys wanted me to do more book reviews, let me know, because this one was actually pretty fun. But yeah, I've always loved reading. But there have been times where I read a book and I would get halfway through it and then I just put it away and not read for like 5, 6, maybe 7 months. But for ever since June, July-ish, I've been reading a lot, and I mean a lot recently. Last month I read about 4 books, and I even started a book account when I started getting more and more into reading. I've always been into reading, really, but I never really started reading like book after book after book until like late July. So now I actually own 4 TikTok accounts, a main account, a fidget account, taste test account, and now a book account, which is Bree Reads. So Bree, BRI.Reads, READZ. So I'm reading Death by Chocolate Cherry Cheesecake by Sarah Graves. It's great. The chapters are so long though. Like, I'm only on page 105, but it's only chapter 6. After every chapter so far in this book has been over 20 pages, I'd say. It's insane. But it is a good book, so I'm not even complaining about that, so I love it. But yeah, also, this book, if I can give it a 10 out of 5 stars, I would. But yeah, freaking incredible. If you guys haven't read it yet, go read it. It's insane, like I said. But yeah, like I said, if you guys want me to do more book reviews, let me know, because this was actually pretty fun. But yeah, I knew after I finished this book, I wanted to make a review on it on this account because it was just that insane and incredible. So, anyway, before I end this video, I want to give a huge shout out to my amazing boyfriend, Isaac. I love you and I miss you. And I also do want to say that Vlogoween starts in like 2 months. October 1st is my first Vlogoween video, of course. So if you guys have any Vlogoween recommendations for videos for Vlogoween and Vlogmas too, because I'm doing that again this year, let me know. I'm always down for any video recommendations. So yeah, also I do want to say that my birthday is this Sunday, in literally 3 days, August 14th. This is my last video as a 19-year-old. My last video as a teenager, actually, so that's insane. But yeah, I turned 20 on Sunday, so that's pretty crazy. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this week's video, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye, guys.